to The Entrepreneur, where we're profiling the top entrepreneurs from the Entrepreneur of the Year Award. I'm your host, Otelli Edwards. DNA, the building blocks of life, the genetic material that determines your physical appearance, character traits, and abilities. The 15 personalities that you will see this season all possess a common set of traits that we would like to call Entrepreneur DNA. They are hungry for success and have a strong determination to triumph in the face of adversity. Let's meet the people who have made a big difference in the business world. Every year, the Entrepreneur of the Year Award salutes local entrepreneurs who have shown outstanding performance as business owners in their chosen field of entrepreneurship. This year marks the 22nd anniversary of an award that has spanned 2 decades and remains the oldest award for entrepreneurship in Singapore. The Association of Small and Medium Enterprises is a not-for-profit organization that welcomes all from the entrepreneurial community into its membership. Throughout the years, it has worked towards a conducive and fair environment that facilitates growth and development for all local enterprises. The Rotary Club of Singapore leads its members in the spirit of Rotary, friendship and unselfish giving, encapsulated in their motto, Service Above Self. Its objective is to encourage and foster the idea of service as a basis of a worthy enterprise. Formed in 1930, today it's an organization of businessmen, entrepreneurs and professional leaders full of vigor, dedicated to the principles and ideals of Rotary, to provide humanitarian service, to encourage high ethical standards in all vocations, and to serve community as well as build goodwill and peace in the world. The Entrepreneur of the Year Award was first launched in 1989 by the Rotary Club of Singapore to acknowledge the accomplishments of local entrepreneurs. In 1992, the Association of Small and Medium Enterprises was invited to join hands with the Rotary Club of Singapore as a co-organizer of the award, resulting in the creation of the Entrepreneur of the Year, a Rotary ASME award. Never one to drift along, Mr. Lawrence Lau was born an entrepreneur. Mr. Lau started as a corporate manager in the 1990s, working for reputed organizations in the Asian region. Well-traveled and well-versed with different cultures, he steadily built a portfolio of experience that included a 5 to 6 year stint in Hong Kong. Upon reaching the prime age of 30 years, Mr. Lau reflected on his past achievements and decided to re-evaluate his goals, both in career and life. Should he remain cushioned in a stable corporate environment or push out on his own? In the end, it was the entrepreneur in him that spoke out, and so Mr. Lau left his comfortable career in Hong Kong, returning back to Singapore to revive his grandfather's then-ailing traditional Chinese medicine business.
I was in my late 20s when I contemplated my career path for the next few decades. After having traveled the world with exposure in the different sorts of problems, working experience, crisis management, I asked myself at that prime age, was then or never? I only get to live once, and I was determined to deliver.
Taking on the role of Chief Executive Officer at Fei-Fa Medical Manufacturing in 1998, Mr. Lau immediately put into place a system of measures that saw the company grow from a small traditional shop into a structured and professionally managed enterprise that manufactures, markets and distributes its own range of healthcare, wellness and food brands as well as products.
Setting an example is one thing, but setting an example to resolve any sorts of solutions, including solutions that are critical situations. And the more you're able to demonstrate those actions into results, the more capable you are to draw more talents and more committed people to your organization.
Today, Fei-Fa not only has its own factory and offices in Singapore, it owns assembly plants in Malaysia and Hong Kong, and its products are marketed all over the world.
To make quantum leap in our business, we need to recruit many more talented pools of people to join our organization. We recognize that talent are hard to come by, and we are always competing with other entities to get this talent. The other option is to identify the potential in each individual within our organization After that, we will train them and nurture them and hopefully become a powerful leader in our organization. Only then we can continue to make exponential growth.
Born in Nuremberg, Germany, as the fifth of 8 children, Mr. Christian Bischoff received an early schooling in lessons of responsibility. Having to support his siblings from a tender age, young Christian's entrepreneurial future was already taking shape. After attaining his qualifications as a certified and licensed freight forwarder in 1977, Mr. Bischoff followed through with an illustrious career in freight forwarding and international logistics. During this time, the desire to start up his own company was always there, but as with any life-changing decision, the timing was crucial.
In our kind of business, in logistics business, you need quite a large capital, working capital, and without it you basically have no chance to start your company. Early 2000 we had an enormous amount of mergers and acquisitions in logistics industry. Outsourcing was at its peak, and we had the right time, the right people, and we said, okay, it's good.
Together with 5 like-minded staff, Mr. Bischoff started a logistics firm operating out of a small office at Changi Airport Cargo Terminal. The business grew quickly, and within a few months into operations, Mr. Bischoff had to sell 40% of the company shares to secure more working capital. Today, Pan Asia Logistics is one of the fastest growing service providers in Asia Pacific. With more than 25 offices in Asia and supported by an extensive network of partners, agents and alliances around the world.
I'm a very sales-oriented person. I like my business. I'm very convinced of what I'm doing. I think logistics and freight forwarding is the most challenging business you can come across. And of course I lead by example. My staff working for me for a long time, they know exactly what I am, who I am. That's of course an absolute winner. They can make their own decisions. Okay, they're totally empowered to make their own decisions. If in $1 million contracts, they can just go and sign it with contracts, and not only in Singapore but in the whole of Asia. As long as the bottom line is reached, of course that is perfect. What we offer to our customers, of course, are concepts, logistical concepts and solutions. They have problems, we can help them to solve the problems. We have experience in every country in Asia. We promise a lot, and I think important is that we always deliver what we promise. And so far, for the 8th year running now, our customers are very happy, and we are just growing and growing and growing.
After the break, we check in with an entrepreneur whose rags to riches story is truly inspirational. And we meet a savvy man who has made a name for himself in sports apparel distribution. Welcome back to The Entrepreneur. The 2 entrepreneurs that are about to feature both possess the elusive quality that establishes them as leaders of the pack. So how has this year's entrepreneurs set themselves apart from others? And how has the Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2010 recognized those abilities? Let's hear it from the co-chairman of this year's Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
I think the award platform is a very good platform that the entrepreneurs can put themselves to the test. It's also a very fun process for them in going through something that's very different from their day-to-day business. Put themselves to the check, put themselves to the competition, and enjoy the ride.
After the crisis the last 2 years, we decided that we need to encourage some new criteria which address the issues that have not been done in the past. And one of them was the financial crisis, which shows a lot of unethical practices by various corporates, by various leaders. We focus a lot on about how to be truthful, to fair, to be equal to society and to others. And we want to encourage this kind of character in every entrepreneur.
Every year, candidates of the Entrepreneur of the Year Award are put through a rigorous judging process by a panel of eminent businessmen, academicians, and distinguished individuals before they are officially honored. The first round of judging involves an interview with the finalist and his team, followed by an on-site visit for the judges to assess the operations within the business. Mr. Ye Hyang Nam's entrepreneurial journey began when he was 4 years old. Born in Penang with 9 siblings, the little boy had to sell pastries to supplement his family income. It was during that time that he came to know the meaning of sacrifice and true grit in order to make ends meet. Despite being one of the top students in school, he had to give up his studies in secondary too, as his parents could not afford his education. At the age of 17, Mr. Ye traveled to Singapore to work as a shop assistant. Serving tea to his employer's guests, he listened in on their business conversations and picked up essential tips. While working in a goldsmith shop, Mr. Ye learned and understood market needs, demands, and various factors affecting the jewelry industry. At 29 years of age, Mr. Ye ventured out on his own by starting up his own business to produce gold jewelry. Mr. Ye's jewelry factory filled a gap that met market needs, and his success enabled him to uproot his entire family from Penang to Singapore, providing his siblings and their children with jobs. Over the years, Mr. Ye has diversified his business and currently has a portfolio of businesses which include pawnbroking, money lending, gold dealing, and property development.
创业集团有买那个买卖二手货，那么二手货是我们经过加工处理的翻新，所以那个品质就是跟新的一样，但是价格很便宜，买过的客户都自己心里有数，都见到牙齿见不到眼睛啊。作为一个企业家，一定要有付出。 要有远见、诚信，这些都是必要的。而且这个借鉴跟员工要打成一片。更重要的是市场的动向，那个是很关键。凡事做事情都有一个责任，那么这个对这个责任感很关键，而且对事情要分清楚。 是非要很分明，明察秋毫啦，尤其在商场上，就是逆水行舟，不进则退，一定要很有意志的往前冲，责任非常关键的，就是不可以中途退缩。
At 62 years of age, this remarkable entrepreneur remains highly active in all his businesses and continues to tap on new opportunities to take his business further. Mr. Andy Chow knows all about brands and over the years has turned his interest and expertise into a formidable brand distribution empire. Throughout the years, Mr. Chow has built up an extensive global network in the brand name business. From managing a distribution business for Adidas in Indochina from 1996 to 1999, Mr. Chow went on to be the global licensee for design, sourcing and development for New Balance apparels from 1999 to 2002. In 2003, he founded Runners World Private Limited and secured the distributorship for Asics and Onitsuka Tiger in Southeast Asia. Following this, Mr. Chow spearheaded the expansion into wholesale distribution and retail of sports and lifestyle footwear, apparels and accessories.
I have always got a strong passion for sports, having representing Singapore for long jump and high jump back in 85, 86. And also been the first schoolboy sponsored by Asics then. Then I started the business in design sourcing for top brands. The sporting industry, based on my observation, has been very still for the last 10, 20 years. If you look at a sports shop today, there's hardly any change. If you look at our concept, Star 360, Sportive 360, or even Urban 360, our brown shoes concept, I think we have introduced very refreshing retail concept. It's a new shopping experience that one can come to the stores and look at how products are displayed. We are able to read the trend accurately and react very quickly to what is in demand from the market. At the same time, I think we do have a very strong team, a very strong supply chain that makes us very different from the rest. We were able to learn marketing from the US, we were able to learn quality control from the Japanese. At the same time, adding some Asia values to build this team, which I think that's the key success for us.
In 2003, Mr. Chow founded Star 360 Holdings, a company centered in the business of brand distribution, both wholesale and retail. Over the years, the Star 360 Holdings group of companies has developed its regional network covering 826 points of sale in Southeast Asia. It has established a network of quality dealers and retailers across the Southeast Asia region, attaining long-term distribution agreements and licenses to manufacture as well. The group also retails directly to consumers through its retail arms, providing a platform to showcase all its brands and products in the best possible way, either through mono-brand boutiques or niche multi-brand and departmental stores. The group actively seeks new brands and has successfully introduced them consistently to the region through its network. When we return from the break, the last entrepreneur of this episode shares the milestones of his journey from growing up on a palm oil estate in Malaysia to establishing himself as a leading green restroom specialist. Welcome back to The Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Oteli Edwards. In the last segment of this episode, we'll take you to the Entrepreneur of the Year 2010 press conference where all 15 entrepreneur finalists were revealed to the public for the very first time. And later, we'll hear from a unique individual who specializes in green restrooms. Let's take a look. The Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2010 press conference revealed this year's top 15 entrepreneurs to the public for the first time. It was also the first time that all 15 top entrepreneurs had the opportunity to meet and greet each other during networking sessions before and after the event. These top entrepreneurs have not only excelled in their respective businesses, but also made social contribution a part of their business philosophy.
This year we incorporated one of the criteria as ethical behavior, which we judge by various measures of the codes of conduct, codes of ethics, or the case trust membership that they continue, and how they practice it, how they show consciousness and conscious in their business.
When they participate in the Entrepreneur of the Year Award, not only do they put themselves to check and balance and the process of assessment, it raised their profile, their level of recognition goes up with their customers, their suppliers, potential new customers. You know, people see that they've gone through a certain assessment process and they give them better due recognition.
Main sponsor OCBC Bank is no stranger to the homegrown SME community. As Singapore's longest established local bank, OCBC Bank has a network of more than 500 branches and representative offices in 15 countries and territories. The bank continually supports local entrepreneurial awards that aim to give due recognition to deserving entrepreneurs and enterprises, including the Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
This is the 9th year in a row that we are sponsoring the award. For nearly 100 years now, OCBC Bank has been supporting our SME customers succeed in their business ventures, whether it's at an early stage in their life as a company, as they get started, or much later as they seek to establish their brand and seek greater customers beyond their home markets. These successes need a platform. And a platform such as this allows them to gain the recognition and to go beyond this to achieve greater success.
Mr. Ng Eng Seng had always been a restless child. Never content with the status quo, the energetic character was always seeking out the next adventure. But unlike other youths merely out for a quick thrill, Mr. Ng's ambitions were much more practical.
Since young, I have love for business. I was brought up from a humble beginning. I've seen many successful people who inspired me to be an entrepreneur one day.
After graduating from the University of Alberta in Canada with a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering, Mr. Ng landed his first job as an electronic design engineer in an American multinational company. The exposure to management, human resource and research and development policies in an MNC setting widened his horizons to the macro perspectives that are needed when running a sustainable and forward-looking enterprise. After 5 years of valuable working experience, Mr. Ng, at just 29 years of age, set up Regal Technology.
In doing business, you have to take risks. At the age of 29, I was still a carefree young man with no family commitment. The opportunity was right in front of me to set up a business. And I believe once the precious window period is over, you will never return. So I seized the opportunity to set up the business at that age and at that point in time.
Together with 3 business partners, Mr. Ng set up their first premises in Marine Parade. The humble startup had just 4 to 5 employees and an office measuring 200 square feet. With dogged determination, Mr. Ng has groomed the company for the past 18 years to create a regional enterprise that employs 300 staff and is now hailed as a green restroom specialist.
We pioneer in a lot of R&D development in this green technology, which in layman term is called saving of power and water.
Regal Technology's state-of-the-art water conservation and power-saving technologies have made resourceful living an everyday option. 2 decades of research and development have paved the way for Regal Technology to extend their comprehensive portfolio into intelligent products, such as integrated sensor flush valves, LCD sensor flush valves, and self-closing delay action taps. This has earned the company a reputation as the undisputed green restroom specialist.
We must keep up with the market requirement, the market trend, and the market movement, delivered accordingly. We must work along with each customer to understand their needs and requirements and to build a rapport with each customer. A business must have profitability in order to sustain and to grow and to give back to the